Uh, Hello, everyone, and good day to all of you. Today, I will be presenting a topic from a syntax, especially about test structure rules and tree diagrams. So, my name is Ibnu Annas with my student ID double three double two 0164, and let's begin to our introduction about test structure rules. So, the first slide is about definition. What is the definition of phrase structure rules? The phrase structure rules are a systematic grammatical rules that applies to phrase. But what is a phrase? A phrase is not a clear sentence, not a complete sentence, because it doesn't have any kind of predicate in it. So, according to Kim and Sells 2008, a phrase comes from lexical categories can be divided into five types. First one is noun phrase, second verb phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, and a prepositional phrase. So, in this kind of topic, we will talk about the types of phrase structure rules. In my presentation today, we will focus on the three main types of phrase structure rules. The first one is noun phrase, prepositional phrase, and verb phrase. Okay, so let's begin to the first one, the noun phrase. Virginia Tofte, 1971, explains that any kind of structures headed by a noun, pronoun, or anything that can function as a noun is a noun phrase. That means even an entire clause can act as a noun phrase in a sentence. For the example, Gani is simply a noun phrase because it's just made of noun. The Canadian has a determiner the, and a noun Canadian. It's called a noun phrase too. The third one, the red car. The red car has a determiner, an adjective, and a noun. The as a determiner, adjective, red as an adjective, and car as a noun. And the last one is the red car in the garage. It includes a complete noun phrase structure like determiner, adjective, noun, and a prepositional phrase. As you can see, noun phrase can vary in complexity. Now, let's break down to the case. It is important to remember that in every kind of noun phrase, the only required element is the noun itself. So the other element like determiners, adjectives, or even the prepositional phrase are optional. They just add more detail but are not necessary. As we talk about the noun phrase, let's head it to the prepositional phrase. So unlike a noun phrase, which have several rules, prepositional phrases are simpler. A prepositional phrase always consists of a preposition and a noun phrase. For example, in the garage is a prepositional phrase made of the preposition in and the noun phrase the garage. Now let's talk about the verb phrase. The last topic, the last three type of phrase structure rules in this kind of presentation. The verb phrase, just like a noun phrase, verb phrase can also include determiners, adjective, or even a prepositional phrase. But just remember, an NP or a VP noun phrase or a verb phrase alone is not a complete sentence. If you want to form a full sentence, we need both a noun phrase and a verb phrase in that kind of order. We can switch them into the verb phrase to a noun phrase. That's impossible to make a sentence. So these phrase structure rules help us to predict and construct the grammatically in a valid sentence. Yes, so the first topic that about the phrase structure rule. And now let's head to the second topic of this kind of presentation. It's about tree dragon. So I have 5 questions that I will break it down on how the words of group together into a phrase and how those phrases can form a full of sentence. These three diagrams help us visualize the structures of sentence. Now, let's head into the first one. The book that was recommended by the professor has been borrowed by several students. So, the book here is a noun phrase acting as the subject of the sentence. The that was recommended by the professor as a relative clause that modifying the book, or we can say it about the adjective phrase. The next one is has been borrowed. This is the kind of verb phrase, but in a passive form. And the next one is by several students. The last one is a prepositional phrase that's showing this is kind of an agent in the prepositional phrase itself. So in the first one, in this three diagram, we'll see that the whole sentence split into the noun phrase and a verb phrase. This kind of noun phrase includes the noun and a relative clause like an adjective phrase. And the VP include and the verb phrase include the auxiliary verbs and the passive verb itself. And also followed by the prepositional phrase. Number one is clear. Now let's head to the second one. Although the match was delayed due to the rain, the players continued their warm-up routine. This is a complex sentence with a subordinate clause. There are two kinds of sentences here. So, although the match was delayed due to rain, this is kind of I don't know, maybe a verbal clause or subordinate. And the next one is the player continued their warm-up routine. Is the main clause, which I was breaking down to form it into a different kind of sentence. There are two kinds of sentence here. The first one is although the match was delayed due to the rain. And the second sentence is the player continued their warm-up routine. This main clause still followed by the noun phrase first, before VP, before the verb phrase pattern. And for the last one, their warm-up routine is a complex noun within the VP. The next one is number 3. The new regulations were announced by the government after the economy showed signs. So this kind of sentence includes the main clause itself. The new regulation is at the noun phrase or the subject, where announced by the government is the verb phrase in a passive form, with also the prepositional phrase. After the economy showed signs, it's showing the time clause that giving this sentence an extra info. So this three also show this sentence starts with an NP, noun phrase, followed by the verb phrase. And the verb phrase itself followed by the auxiliary, the verb, and the prepositional phrase. And last with the prepositional phrase. So maybe making a clause to modifying the entire meaning of the sentence. Number 4. The man who was arrested last night had been hiding in the abandoned warehouse for weeks. The man acts as a noun phrase or a subject. Who was arrested last night? This is a modifying the man. And had been hiding in the abandoned warehouse for weeks is a verb phrase. So in this kind of three diagrams, MP includes the noun and the relative clause, followed by the relative clause. But the VP, the verb phrase, consists of multiple auxiliaries with had and been, and a verb phrase itself, hiding, with a prepositional phrase in the abandoned warehouse. And another prepositional phrase, for weeks. The last one, number 5. The big girl saw Eleazar with a lovable partner recently. This sentence is a simpler active with some the detail So the bigger is a noun phrase with a determiner, adjective, and followed by the noun, the bigger. Saw Eleazar with a lovable panda recently. Is the verb, is the kind of word phrase. Now, this tree diagram shows that the VP containing the verb saw, followed by the NP, Eleazar. It's a noun and a prepositional phrase, lovable panda, and recently is kind of an adverb that just add the modifying to the action. Let's wrap up the tree diagram section. So as you can see, this number 1 until number 5 is a kind of tree diagram section, and these tree diagrams visually give us demonstrate to how the sentence are structured using the rules of syntax, using the noun phrase, verb phrase, prepositional phrase, or maybe an adjective phrase or an adverb phrase. So, so this is my kind of reference. I have two kind of reference here. First one is Rahmawati Gaul, Kuta Barat, Pandiangan 2022, with a book with a journal with the title is An Analysis Phrase Structure Rules in Planet Song Lyrics. And the last one is Milaku 2016, with a journal the title is The Noun Phrase. So I think that's the last kind of my presentation about the phrase structure rule and tree diagrams. I hope that this kind of my presentation will help you to understand about the phrase structure rules like noun phrase, verb phrase, or maybe prepositional phrase. And also, I have break down the three diagrams from the last number 5, from the 5 number before. So I think that's maybe it will help you to understand and analyze the grammatical structure in a sentence using a syntax rules. I end this section of presentation. Thank you.